136. .152. Did you see the difference between those two? It's fall-ish. The weather's starting to cool off, and for me, and possibly for many of you, that means time to get ready to go back to the winter carry gun. What is a winter carry gun? Why am I stupid for suggesting two guns? Let's talk about that coming up next on GBGuns. Depending on your climate, how hot and cold it gets year to year, you may want to consider a summer gun and a carry gun. This is something that I got into despite being in Oregon, which is mostly temperate-ish. We get a couple of weeks below freezing, we get a couple of weeks that touch 100, but unless you're spending a whole lot of time outdoors, it really doesn't matter too much. However, I've found that smaller guns are easier to conceal, more comfortable when it's hot out, and conceal better with lightweight clothing. So in the summer, I've been using the Bull Armory SAS2 TAC Ultralight, little 3¼ inch gun, slightly lower capacity than the bigger one, but still more capacity than a Staccato, of course. And I get 2¾ inch grip in my finger. If you look back at that intro footage, you'll see that I aired left a little bit. That's because smaller guns, it's my tendency, no matter how much I train on a smaller gun, I want to squeeze, and that ends up steering the gun to the left. Now I found the right ammo for it. I use Liberty Ammunition 50 grain plus P. Shoots really well, delivers excellent energy. It's frangible, which is something that I like because I believe in fearing the liability of every shot fired in a defensive situation. And I'd like my round to stop when it hits whatever it is that I have just shot at. The second gun is a Bull Armory SAS2 TAC 4¼ this has been replaced by the EDC. Don't worry, I've got a full review on the EDC, but this older version is the one that I have more trigger time with. It's what I carried last winter, and it's what I'll be carrying again. Slightly more capacity. I get a whole hand grip. 4¼ inch barrel means I get excellent velocity. Interestingly enough, even though these guns are from the same production year, same company, same basic design, this gun does not perform as well with that 50 grain. So for it, I've been carrying 124 grain HSTs because they print much better than the Liberty in this gun. I don't know, maybe pistols are like rifles and they really do have a favorite load. But why would I carry this in the winter instead of just carrying the more comfortable, easier to conceal 3¼ inch guy? I go bigger in the winter because I can get away with it clothing style wise, but also my potential threats are wearing more clothing, so I want a little more energy. Also, if you've shot more than a couple guns and never paid attention, the longer your slide is, the smoother it shoots and the easier it is to control, and the more of your hand you can get on the stock, the better you can control that gun. So ideally, I would carry this year round. I shoot better with it, I can control it better, and back to the whole liability for all shots fired, I have better command of where my shots are going with this gun than I do with the smaller version. However, with its full-size stock, etc., this is a lot harder for me to conceal in the summertime. So my handguns are a compromise to begin with, right? Because we can't all walk around with rifles and shotguns. Even if we could, it would just be burdensome and it's a pain in the butt. Trust me, I know. I did Afghanistan, I did Iraq. Walking around with a rifle all day gets really old really quick. So we compromise for handguns, and then within handguns, there are further compromises going to smaller guns. Now, I know many of you carry something even smaller than this, probably due to comfort threshold or the climate you live in. I don't recommend it. My personal advice, having done lots of ballistics studies, looked at lots of different ammunition, and shot about 400 handguns, is you should strive for a 4-inch barrel. That's what most ammunition is loaded for. Those are also the easiest shooting or easier shooting guns than the smaller ones, while still being compact enough to be relatively easy for most folks to carry. I get it that we can't all do that, but I strongly recommend a 4-inch barrel or longer, especially winter. Now, what about the problem of going back and forth between two different guns? It requires extra training. I strongly recommend, if you can, get 2 different size variations of the same gun. That way your manual of arms, even maybe your magazines for when it comes to training, all of that are interchangeable. These two, And yes, this is a pleasure, if you will, of my 9 years of work reviewing guns that I'm able to have these, because they're both hard to get a hold of. They're both expensive. They don't have to be these two, but these two handle very, very similarly because they're from the same manufacturer, and they're just kind of slightly smaller or bigger versions of one another. I went with the TAC 4 1/4, now called the EDC, because of its aluminum frame. I shoot the steel frame TAC much better, obviously, for obvious reasons. It's got more nose weight. However, it's a little bit on the heavier than I want to carry side of things. And since Oregon doesn't get quite bitter cold, I can't really excuse myself from needing to still be able to conceal things in a reasonable way. So if you can, choose a pair from the same manufacturer, or at least two guns of nearly the same manual of arms and means of handling. You don't want safeties or magazine releases in different places. And then here's the other challenge, is that means training with both of them. I've taken both of these to courses. I recommend you do the same. It doesn't have to be a 4-day course. It could be just a fun night at a local range club or something, but run them both. Run one time, run one the next time. As you saw in just that really quick, easy demo, I am much better with the 4 1/4 than 3 1/4, as I'd expect to be. I also have more trigger time with it because it's a little more fun to shoot. Which goes right back to something that we talk about all the time with the downfall of tiny guns. Some of them are actually pretty nice to shoot, but like the 1.5 staggered Magic micro compact magazine setup, a lot of those magazines aren't much fun to load, and that makes for a poor long day at the range. Now, if you don't mind that, or if you've got a Lula or something like that, cool, more power to you. My point is, pick something you can train with it. If you can, carry as big as you possibly can. This offers me not only more control of the firearm while shooting, but higher capacity, which is a great thing. I wish the days of single stacks being enough were still with us, but depending on where you live, you might be up to face 3 bad guys. Now, I think the best thing to do is just get the hell out of there, not have to shoot. But should you have to shoot, keep in mind that statistics say you need 3 hits to neutralize the threat, regardless of caliber. Sorry, 10mm guys. Turns out it really doesn't matter. 3 hits per target. If you've got a single stack that is giving you 9 rounds, that means you've got to make every shot count, which it should in the first place. But keep in mind, real life gunfights are not as easy as the static range with a target staring at you, waiting for you to shoot at it. So those are my advice. I'd love to hear your thoughts on winter summer carry. I don't think there's a wrong answer or right answer, pure, definite, absolute. I believe it's all up to us as individuals and what we're comfortable with, what we can afford, and what we can train with. For me, I'm fortunate enough to have the option, so I do it. It makes my summers a whole lot easier, and then in winter, I'm much more comfortable. Plus, around here, it's generally cool enough for the bigger gun 9 months out of the year. That's all I have for you today. Just kind of a public service announcement, get the thoughts going kind of thing. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.